Thank you so much, Ryan Gill. Ryan knows how to get us started this morning. Good morning, Unity of Music City. It's so good to see you all here. I want to welcome back to the stage today. Deb Moore is in the house for our special lesson. So, Deb, we look forward to hearing from you. And I just want to take a special point of privilege and thank my husband, Dan Spearing, for the work he's doing on the soundboard. Thank you, Dan. Oh, yes, and Crystal, we always appreciate you. Crystal is a much appreciated. And also I want to welcome Amy to the our group this morning. So thank you for helping us, Amy. All right, let's stand up and sing. I'm so glad that we are here. I'm so glad that we are here. I feel the Spirit ever near. Feel the Spirit ever near. We are friends and family. We are friends and family. Singing praises joyfully. Blessed, we are thankful, all is well and life is good. We are blessed, we are thankful, all is well and life is good. We give thanks for everything. We give thanks for everything. Countless blessings Spirit brings. Countless blessings Spirit brings. Celebrate our unity. Celebrate our unity. As we live in harmony. As we live in harmony. We are blessed. We are thankful. All is well and life is good. We are blessed. We are thankful. All is well and life is good. We are blessed. We are thankful. All is well and life is good. We are blessed. We are thankful. All is well and life is good. All is well and life is good. All is well and life is good.
Woo! Good morning. Good morning. It's time for the announcements for the week. So I'm going to see if I can do that I can't do it without my glasses. I'm sorry. I just lied to myself. I still lie to myself, and I've been wearing them for how many years now? Okay. Unity of Music City is open on Sunday mornings again, celebrating our service, okay? Every Sunday, all the time. We're practicing social distancing, so please be reassured that we're wearing our masks that are required, and the Namaste Cafe, of course, in the children's program is not working right now, but they will be back in, whenever we finish this COVID thing. So please plan accordingly. Please join us each and every Sunday, ready to continue in the live stream via Facebook and YouTube. So if you're still, not comfortable being here, we get it. We really do. So please join us every Sunday. The prayer chaplains, thank goodness for them during this time, are available for your prayers. You may not see them, but they're very busy. Okay. If you have a prayer or a request, a concern that in your life right now, and I don't know too many of us that don't, the chaplains are available for, servicing you. You can email that prayer request to, okay, it's a long one, uofmcprayerrequests@gmail.com. Okay. Any and all prayer requests are welcome, as always. Wednesday mornings, 11:30 each Wednesday, we are having the lunch bunch via Zoom. You guys, it's a whole lot of fun. Even if you've not started with us, it's a great book that we're reading right now, Braiding Sweetgrass. If you've never smelled sweetgrass, you're missing it because it is heavenly. This book is by Robin Wall Kimmerer. Contact Karen Burr for more information if you'd like to join us. Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. is the adult education class, and we are our brothers and sisters' keeper, are we? Via Zoom. Zoom information is in the weekly email, and that comes out on Tuesdays, okay? Or contact Margie. Margie Hart is the facilitator along with Ryan Gill and Frank Castellano. This will be the last adult ed class until after the new year. Again, this is not too late to kind of chime in on the very last one, to be a part of the change.
And it'll be a big finale.
It'll be a big finale, so looking forward to that. Okay. On Sunday, November the 8th. Okay. It's real important. This is a really big deal. Okay. On Sunday, November the 8th, there's a town hall meeting here at 12 p.m. noon after the service. Please seriously consider joining us in person if you can. If you're kind of ready to come back, that would be a good Sunday to come back to be a part of our town hall meeting in the sanctuary. It'll also be on Zoom, so don't be concerned if you just don't feel ready to come back. We're discussing the future of our spiritual community, and we're very much in need and welcome your input. We are a community, we're a family, and the input we all have is so important. We appreciate you, and we strongly encourage you to attend. Zoom information, again, is in the weekly email. Okay. And then Saturday, November the 21st, Land Lovers is going to have their last cleanup, pull the place looking all together before the winter. And so between 9 and 12, and it is the final cleaning for the year. So if you want more information about that, call or contact Tom, and he will be able to give you additional information. Thank you so much. Let's sing again. Let's sing. Let's sing.
Blessed to have one another, a chosen family, together we stand. We are blessed to be sister and brother. We are blessed. We are blessed. Where two or more are gathered, there's a sweet spirit near. Where two or more are gathered, love replaces fear. We are blessed to have one another, a chosen family, together we stand. We are blessed to be sister and brother. We are blessed. We are blessed. A light to those around us. We bring joy when we sing. We feel God's love surround us. We give thanks for everything. We are blessed to have one another, a chosen family, together we stand. We are blessed to be sister and brother. We are blessed. We are blessed. We are blessed. We are blessed.
Good morning.
Morning.
Today's sacred reading is that I am deeply engaged in life. I can learn so much from my interactions with others. I encounter a wide range of viewpoints, personalities, and talents as I go about my day. My real growth happens when I fully engage with my surroundings. I am not a passive observer of the world around me. I may learn new things by taking a class, practicing a new language, traveling to an unfamiliar locale, or volunteering to my church and community. Fresh experiences show me undiscovered parts of myself. Just as my outer world expands as I engage with others, so too does my inner world expand. I deepen my understanding, share my love, and awaken my compassion and empathy for all with whom I engage. Finally, all of you have a unity of spirit, sympathy, love for one another, a tender heart, and a humble mind.
No matter what is going on around us, no matter what happens in our world, no matter what we experience, what the outer receipts bring us, we are blessed. We are blessed in that we always have this place to go. In the midst of chaos, the silence still exists. In the midst of unknowing and uncertainty, the place of blessed assurance still exists. It is a place we can always turn to. We can always believe. We are blessed to have an awareness of the silence and the stillness that lives within us always. And together we experience that in the silence.
And after we have spent some time in the silent sanctuary of our soul, we can know, we can feel, we can say, I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. 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 I am so grateful. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Ryan and Harmony 4, for that beautiful song. I think that the headset microphone doesn't like me. And that is a core belief that I carry through this world. And it manifests itself twice now. The last 2 times I have spoken, it has manifested itself, and that is quite all right. Because the world may not always do what we want it to do, but we always have options, right? We always have things that we can do. We have different choices, don't we, Gill? We have different choices we can make. So I'm just going to stand up here and juggle. I'm going to hold this, and I'm going to hold this, and if someone will throw me something that's on fire, I'll throw that into the mix, and we'll just juggle it. So it's November. Today is the first day of November. How exciting. It is the season of gratitude that we are entering, and it's a wonderful time of year, my favorite time of year. I know in October, I said October was my favorite time of year, but I'm thinking it's November. I'm going to go with November. We know that we should always be in gratitude. We should always live in gratitude, that it is the seat of power. It is the place of power to live in gratitude all the time. And yet, when we get to November, we tend to focus on it just a little bit more, and that's okay. November is like the annual ritual of remembering that we return to Thanksgiving always. Every time this year, around this time of year, I always think about Judy B., and this is not, I don't have it on, do I, Crystal? I'm technically challenged today. I always think about Judy B., and I think about her ABCs of gratitude. Do you remember Judy Blackwelder talking about her ABCs of gratitude and how on her way to work in the morning, she would just go through the alphabet, and she'd find something for each letter that she was grateful for, like A, I'm grateful for apples, B, I'm grateful for butter, C, I'm grateful for cookies. I was really, really hungry when I wrote this, okay? But even if I was not hungry, I am always grateful for butter. Do not ever be mistaken about that. Always grateful for butter, right? And so that's a great practice for us to engage in. It's a tool that we can use to remember to be in gratitude. And everyone in this room I know knows the power that gratitude has to shift our energy. It is an amazingly powerful tool to shift our energy. But for just a few moments now, I want to talk about those moments when gratitude seems hard. And we've all had them. I've had them. Y'all can say you haven't had them. That's fine. I'm the one who has had them. I've had moments when gratitude feels hard. As a matter of fact, I almost called this talk the hard part of gratitude. But I decided to call it doing gratitude, and hopefully by the end, you'll go there with me and see what I'm talking about. We've all had moments when gratitude feels difficult, when we're right in the middle of something. Afterwards, looking at it from 30,000 feet, we can remember to be grateful for that experience, maybe. But in that moment, whatever we're going through, gratitude can feel far, far away. I think about the students that I work with. The people I work with are generally between 18 and 25. I have a few returning veterans or mothers who've raised their children and now are returning to school. But as a general rule, I'm dealing with that 18 to 25-year-old age range. Do we have any 18 to 25-year-old? No, I don't believe we have any 18 to 25-year-olds in the room with us today. But let me tell you something. You know, it is the tendency for every generation to kind of talk about those kids. You know, those kids, they don't know, they are so spoiled. They just don't know how hard it is. I've walked uphill to school barefoot both ways in 5 feet of snow and all this kind of stuff, right? Every generation, believe it or not, we've found some written evidence from way back when Socrates was around of adults saying the same thing about kids these days. It's been this ongoing thing, but I'm here to tell you something. Kids these days face a mountain that you and I did not face. They have a hill that is so much bigger to climb. And that's the reality of our world. The current 18 to 25-year-olds were raised in a childhood of post-9/11 dread. They were raised in a childhood of active shooter drills. That's their reality, right? Those who are in college right now, their college experience has been dramatically altered. It is not at all what we experienced. Those who are leaving college right now are trying to find a job in a pandemic economy. And they're leaving college saddled with unparalleled levels of student loan debt. Now, I know right now y'all are sitting going, you better pull this up pretty quick, Deb, because you're depressing me right now. We'll get there. Hang tight with me. We'll get there. They owe 300% more student debt than their parents' generation did. As a matter of fact, those of us in that older generation, somewhere there's a slide there, Crystal, and I know I have it on. When you think about back in the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s, you could work for the summer and earn your tuition, right? And so the hours of minimum wage work needed to pay for 4 years of college. For boomers, most of us in this room are boomers. For boomers, 306 hours of minimum wage work would pay for 4 years of school. For millennials, 4,459 hours of minimum wage work. Their mountain is real. It is a real mountain. They are half as likely to own a home as young adults were in 1975. Half as likely. The last National Geographic I received, I have about 3 magazines that I get delivered to my home that I love dearly, and one of them is the National Geographic. There was an article in this most recent one written by a young woman named Jordan Salama. She's in this age group. She was writing to other people in her age group. And I learned that, you know, every generation has a name, right? the boomers and the millennials and the Generation X and the Gen Zs and all that kind of stuff. And they've been talking about what do we call this generation that's living right now, this 18 to 25-year-old generation. And it has been recommended that they be called Generation Screwed. Think about the weight of that on your entire generation. I'm going to take you there. Hold on. Their American dream is not the same dream that we dreamed. The dream has shifted. And here's what I've learned in working with my students. When I'm sitting across my desk from one of them before COVID, now when I'm sitting across a Zoom call from one of them, I've had to always remember that the few feet that separates us is not all that is different between us. That generations separate us and experiences separate us. And I have learned one thing very clearly when talking to my students. When people are going through tough times, telling them to be grateful is a place of privilege. Telling them to be grateful is coming from a place of privilege. That sometimes I have to sit with them for a moment where they are, and hopefully together we can get around to a place of gratitude. But to look at someone who is suffering and say, you just need to be grateful, that's not exactly the way to approach them. There is an importance in not telling people what their own experience is, instead just listening to their experience and not trying to tell them what you think it is from the outside. Still, even when I'm sitting with those young folks or old folks or whomever whose experience is so tough, I know that their seat of power is from the place of gratitude. And I want to bring them there. When I am in that place, I know that gratitude is the way out. And a place that I always like to start is being grateful for the basics, right? Being grateful for that roof over my head. Being grateful for the fact that I know where my next meal is coming from. Being grateful for my job, my car, right? Being grateful for all of those things, but most of those things are physical things. Even my education was bought and paid for. To be grateful for my education and what I've managed to accomplish in the world. But these are physical, and sometimes a sense of loss, a place where gratitude feels difficult, has nothing to do with our material world. It has to do with where we are inside, where our mind has taken us. I like to remember this sometimes when I am feeling woe is me. If you can read that, I don't know. If you have a food in your refrigerator, a roof over your head, and a place to sleep, you are richer than 75% of the world. And sometimes that helps me. Now, that's pretty sad that I have to compare myself to the rest of the world and find my gratitude from a place of superiority. I'm better off than you, so I'm grateful. Well, I'm not as bad as that next guy is, so I'm grateful. I've had the privilege to go to Delhi, India, twice now. Delhi is a city of 28 million people. It's got 10 million more people than our largest city. As a matter of fact, there are 3 cities in India that are larger than any of our largest cities. And there's a lot of poverty there. We are richer than 75% of the world because people I've met on the other side of the world with hearts of gold live in abject poverty. It's another thing to try to feel that when you're looking around at other people here in our land of bounty and our land of richness. So sometimes even that feels not a place I can go. And I have to stop and just be grateful for my breath. And that is such a great beginning point for me. Being grateful for my breath. Sometimes when I can't be grateful for anything else, I can be grateful for stillness. And that option, that I have the option for stillness. So what do we do with all this? Let's turn it around and make it feel a little better now, shall we? Because the world has always been a tough, human experience. It has. Right? As a matter of fact, the truth of the matter is, as tough as the world feels right now, fewer people die today from war and famine and disease than ever in our history. So things are looking up. Last week, I was thinking about this. I was thinking about talking about the hard part of gratitude, and then Frank spoke last week, and it was so fantastic what Frank had to say. And he started talking about numerology. And I love numerology. It's one of my favorite tools to use. I have several that I really am drawn to, and numerology is one of them. And I started thinking about my talk this week, and I realized that, don't know what's happening, Crystal, but I'm pushing it, I promise. Let's go there. Yes. Today is 11/1/2020. Just that number alone feels kind of powerful, doesn't it? There's all kinds of 1 and 2 and 0 energy all up in there. So I thought, let's see what that is about and see if we can find something. That's what we do to do gratitude. We reach for the tool that's closest to us and say, let me see if I can use that. Let me see if I can by God, let me pull a card. Let me do whatever I can to get me back in alignment with where I'm supposed to be. So I started looking into this, and let me give you a disclaimer from the beginning. I am no numerologist. I'm just dabbling, all right? But I started looking into it, looking it up a little bit, and I started looking into the energy of some of these numbers, and the first number I saw was 1. And I looked at the energy of the number 1, and 1 energy is about being a pioneer. It's about initiation, breaking new ground. It's a proactive force. It represents newness and movement and the possibilities that await us. Spiritually, this is the number of creation and the birth of all things. This is the divine origin of the universe right here. Newness and possibility, and we've got lots of it today. The energy of 2 is the energy, it is a supremely feminine energy, by the way. 2 is feminine. It's cooperative. It looks for peace and balance. It is sensitive and intuitive. This is about partnerships, the partnerships of people, the partnerships of ideas. Think about all of the divisions that we feel in the world today. These are dichotomies, right? There's 2 sides in all these divisions. If we can think of those as 2 partners trying to learn how to dance, right? They're trying to learn how to dance together right now. This is not about control or authority. It's about harmony and balance and teamwork and mediation. That's what we have in 2 energy. And then we have the energy of the 0 that's all over this date today, which is about all that is and all potential. It is the number of infinite possibilities. If you remember, one of our mission statements from years ago for this church was remembering our oneness with all creation, we awaken the world to infinite possibilities. The energy of 0 is both closed or completed and wide open at the same time. It is wholeness and it is infinity. But numerologists add numbers together as I understand it. So the real energy of this date today is the energy of 7. And 7, did anybody else hear growing up in Sunday school that 7 was the perfect number? I think we had a song about it. 7 is a perfect number. Something like that. It's something like that. So 7 was this perfect number. Biblically, 3 and 7 are the really powerful numbers. And so 7 is about introspection and inner wisdom. It's about digging deep and finding answers. There's always something deeper that we cannot see. And 7 is about the full depth of this mystery. It's about diving into the mystery. And we have that opportunity today. So, what does all of this have to do with gratitude and how some folks are faring today? there's a lot of energy that is swirling around our world. I was talking with Vic yesterday for a while, and we were talking about the fact, even in my place of work with my colleagues, I'm meeting people these days who are, some folks are reaching the end of their pandemic rope. They've done about all this pandemic they want to do, right? Some folks are so tired of living in a soup of fear and anxiety about what is going on. Some folks are angry. Some folks are fine, right? And so all of this energy is swirling all of these different ways. So what do we do with this, and how do we put it all together? Well, let's deal with the first one. Let's deal with the energy of one, with the newness and the possibility. You know, one of the favorite things people love to talk about these days, at least on social media, is how crappy 2020 has been. It's like the number one topic that people talk about, right? Oh, 2020, what have you done to me lately, right? Right, and remember, if you remember this year, it's been a ride. If you remember, it started with some protest in Hong Kong, right? And then we had, remember the brush fires in Australia? Like half of Australia was on fire at the same time. And then, of course, we had the tragic death of George Floyd and the protests that rose up around that and that movement. We lost Kobe Bryant. We lost Sean Connery, right? We had a pandemic. The stock market is schizophrenic, right? It doesn't know what it's doing. Murder hornets. We've had all of them. But let me give you some good news today about that. The calendar is a human-made construct. In the spirit world, 2020 doesn't mean shit. Doesn't mean anything. As a matter of fact, the natural calendar, every 29.530588 days, every 29 days, 12 hours, 44 minutes, and 2.8 seconds brings us another new moon by which we can set our intentions. And isn't it beautifully symbolic that under that new moon, we are in the darkness setting our intentions? We can't see, it's not by the light. We don't set our intentions by the light, we set our intentions from the place of darkness, right? But we know in that place that the light waxes and wanes. Every 29 days, 12 hours, 44 minutes, and 2.8 seconds, we get a new full moon under which to feel the expansiveness of life. I don't know about y'all, but I almost can't help but feel gratitude under a full moon. It just has that energy. It is the energy of openness and gratitude and thanksgiving, right? And every 29 days, 12 hours, 48 minutes, and 2.8 seconds, we get that waxing and that waning, the breathing of the universe, the natural in and out, the natural growing and declining that happens. Every 365 days, 5 hours, 48 minutes, and 45 seconds. Which is a real year, right? We got to throw a leap year in every now and then. We get 2 equinoxes and 2 solstices, and we get some celebrations in between those. In each of those, we have the opportunity for an ending and a beginning. Today is All Saints' Day. It is also Day of the Dead. It is also, cultures all over the world are celebrating different things. As Frank mentioned last week, in the Celtic tradition, this is Samhain. It goes from the evening of October 31st until the evening of November 1st. And let me tell you what Samhain is. Hold on. It's the Celtic New Year. Happy New Year. If 2020 has been a tough ride for you, guess what? Happy New Year. Oh, that's a great feeling. Peace and harmony. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a roller coaster ride, so hang with me. I was looking up things about peace. And you expect to find really nice things most of the time about peace, but peace is not just a nice, soft, sweet, gentle guru. Peace is also a pretty tough cookie. Right? Peace knows what it is and what it wants. There's an old Latin phrase that goes back at least 1,700 years from what we know. And I'm not a Latin scholar, but so forgive me if I butcher the pronunciation. Si vis pacem para bellum. And you can find many, many instances of it being used, and here's what it means. If you want peace, prepare for war. I had a whole bunch of Unity people just leave the building right now. That's what happened. Because we don't like to talk about this. As a matter of fact, let's just go ahead and get rid of that. If you want peace, prepare. Prepare for it. What are you doing for peace? You know, throughout human history, people of good heart and good intentions have had to step up for peace. They've had to step up and do something, sometimes in ways that feel tough. This past week, I can't even remember what it was, Crystal, but something was happening in Facebook land, and Crystal had made a comment, and she said, well, so much for oneness in the world. And I had a thought. Crystal was my teacher in that moment, because her saying that made me stop and think about this idea of oneness. And I said, you know, here's the thing. We are all one, and we are all individually acting out our divine roles. It's a paradox, I know, but all of my spirituality is a paradox, so it fits right in for me. And here's the thing, calling out someone who is not acting in divine right, and I can know that, not all the time. I'm not the judge of the world, but if they're racist, I can call them out. If they're bigoted, I can call them out. There are certain things, I don't have any hesitation calling them out. And to me, that is the same as when I stand and look in the mirror and bring myself to task. I am bringing the parts of oneness that aren't in alignment to task, to create peace in the world. I'm going to give you a little bit of a history lesson. I know, it's a thing I do. But in the 20th century, we had two major world wars. And war is not a fun thing we like to talk about. Woodrow Wilson was the president of the United States when we headed into World War I, and his focus was that the world must be made safe for democracy. Democracy is simply a government by the people, of the people, by the people, for the people, right? So that the world must be made safe for the people. And then the war to end all wars didn't end all wars, and we had World War II. And Franklin Delano Roosevelt was the president then, and this is a really interesting quote. And you may not be able to read it at home, I'll read it to you. Unless the peace that follows, that should say that, recognizes that the whole world is one neighborhood and does justice to the whole human race, the germs of another world war will remain as a constant threat to mankind. He called us to oneness then and said, that is, you want to end war? And not just the war where we pick up guns and fight each other, but the war between all of us. We have to find the peace that recognizes that we're one neighborhood and we're all one human race. Out of World War II, Franklin Delano Roosevelt and Winston Churchill and a bunch of folks got together and they formed something called the United Nations. And those people right there are called, anybody know what they're called? They're called UN peacekeepers. That's their role. Their role is to keep peace, to maintain peace, to stay in peace. I know that that picture looks really warlike and they've got guns and all that kind of stuff. But their job is the job of peace. In fact, if you go to the United Nations website, there's peace all over it. Peace is the word that sticks out all the time. And it says that peacekeeping by the United Nations is a role held by the Department of Peace Operations as a unique and dynamic instrument developed by the organization as a way to help countries torn by conflict to create the conditions for lasting peace. And most of us know that our dear friend Marianne Williamson has advocated that Department of Peace for our U.S. cabinet. There have been forces that have been stepping up and doing the work of peace for a long time in our world, not just waiting for it. And there's nothing wrong with that. I love that we hold the space for peace to happen. But I also love when we get up and do something about it. How can we deal with a world where in order to bring peace to another, it would seem that I might have to, dare I say, fight for it? We don't like that word. But even nonviolent resistance requires that you take a stand, right? Nonviolent resistors had to face fire hoses and dogs and state troopers. They had to face spitting and taunts and yells and waves of energy rising up against them. So they had to bring an energetic force of doing peace, standing for peace, being firm for peace. Peace and harmony, here is what I want to say out of this. This is what I'm wanting us to see, that peace and harmony require vigilance. They require vigilance. They require that we do something. What is your peacekeeping force? Right? What is your peacekeeping force? What is your practice? What is your peace-sustaining activity? I have a mug at home, my favorite tea mug. And it's one of those mugs, I don't know if y'all have a favorite mug where, like, when you get up in the morning, if it's in the dishwasher, you're just a little bit bummed out. Like, it can make the difference in how your day starts if your favorite mug is there ready for you. So my favorite mug is this one. I've had it for like 15 or 20 years now. I've had it for a long time. And it says this, peace. It does not mean to be in a place where there is no noise, trouble, or hard work. It means to be in the midst of those things and still be calm in your heart. Right? Being in peace is not about escaping our world. It's about diving into it with our peaceful heart, bringing our peace to it. The zero energy, infinite potential. The good news here is that you ain't done yet, and neither am I, thank God. Because I need a happy new year just about every day. Every moment. Vic and I were talking about that yesterday, about how things can be made brand new. We can move from crucifixion to resurrection, not just every day, but in every moment. You know, at 9:30 this morning, I was being crucified, but I'm resurrected now. It can shift that quickly, right? Every human being that still draws breath is the evidence of that potential. Thomas Merton, the Trappist monk and writer and mystic, wrote, "You do not need to know precisely what is happening or exactly where it is all going. What you need is to recognize the possibilities and challenges offered by the present moment and to embrace them with courage, faith, and hope." One way that I have found to embrace courage, faith, and hope is to be really, really honest with my God. When I cling to the mustard seed and the authenticity, I'm okay. When I keep just enough faith to say, no matter what's going on around me, everything feels messed up, but I trust you. Everything feels hopeless, but I have faith in you. Everything feels stuck in the mud or chaotic or scary. But I believe that miracles happen in my life every day, and I will not allow that belief to be taken away from me. I will rely on it. We all know the story of Anne Frank, the young girl who was in hiding for many, many years, captured by the Germans, died in a German concentration camp at the age of 15. And her writings have been some of the most powerful and popular of the last 100 years. And she wrote when she was just 14 or so, in hiding. And I love how many 14-year-old exclamation points this has. Everyone has inside of him a piece of good news. The good news is that you don't know how great you can be, how much you can love, what you can accomplish, and what your potential is. What wisdom from this young girl. And I love that line, how much you can love. If I could take one prayer into the month of November for myself personally, it would be, please teach me to love more. Teach me how I can love more. That 7 energy of diving into the mystery. You know, the more lost I am, the more potential I have to dive into the great unknown of the I am self. It's a paradox, but you know me, I like paradoxes. We often think of spiritual understanding in the same way that we think about educational development, right? If we just learn certain concepts or have certain experiences or go to so many services, we might be able to graduate to the next grade or the next level, right? We'll get a degree. We don't earn spiritual degrees. We don't. I mean, theology, that's a different story. It just doesn't work that way. We don't need spiritual development. We need intellectual development. We need emotional development. We need all kinds of development. We don't need spiritual development. It's like looking at a rose and screaming, "Become a rose! You need to become a rose!" Looking at a wave and saying, "Can you please become the ocean?" You are the ocean. The spirit that you are, your I am presence, already is fully developed in its fullness, in its richness. It wasn't born, it will not die. It didn't begin, it will not end. It is, and it is always that place within us that we can go to. When we think about spirituality in terms of development, that's when we start to compare ourselves to others. And we even compare ourselves to other versions of ourselves. We start to think that this person has it all together, or that person over there is really building up some really interesting karma, right? We hold spiritual teachers up to unrealistic heights of perfection when the truth is they're no more developed than you are. They may have read more books. They may have been aware of their awareness more than some of us, but their spirit is one with ours. In fact, in any given moment, any one of us can be saint or sinner, guru or follower. We continually gauge our own behavior, our thoughts, and our emotions as if those gauge readings could come anywhere close to assessing our divine nature. And so it is that when we think we're getting really good grades, when our spiritual GPA feels really high, we're often farthest away from the seat of presence that is our natural resting place. Our belief that we've got it all together is a delusion that can result in us living outside of our core rather than inside the divine presence that we are. You know, when I am failing the grade, when my heart has become heavy from the weight of the world, when I lose sight of that which is pure and holy, when I feel far, far away from the capacity for gratitude, that is the very moment of opportunity. That is the moment when I have nothing left but to throw open my arms and dive into the mystery. That is the moment when I can come to it with no agenda. That is the moment that I can come to it without telling it what it needs to do for me or how it needs to show up for me. That's when I can step into meditation with a whole lot more power because I'm empty. At the end of Jordan Salama's article, She says, I don't like to think of us as generation screwed. I prefer to think of us as generation renewed. That we have the opportunity to recreate our world into something that we've never seen before. It is not mine to do today to tell you to just be grateful, even though I know that gratitude works. What I would say to you today is to welcome you into the newness that today brings. I wish you peace and the recognition of your infinite potential. I wish you the clear guidance of what it is you can do to sustain peace in your life. I wish you the heart, the desire, and the tools by which to do gratitude. And from that place, we can all be grateful. Namaste and Happy New Year.
And if you guys wouldn't mind saying with me, after Deb's amazing speech, thank you, Deb. I think that's exactly what the doctor ordered. I know it's what I needed to hear. Gratitude starts within, and I think we all have a lot to be grateful for this morning. So again, thank you, Deb. And as we begin with our tithes and offerings, I'm open to receiving floods of financial abundance with ease, so that I may be able to give back even more to the world around me. And something we haven't said in a long time, I don't know if you guys remember, with our tithes and offerings, if you remember, heaped up, pressed down, and shaken together, for that's the law. Oh, and running over, for that's the law. And so it is. And I believe, what do we do? I think we need to sing some more, yes?
So real. Here in this moment, we stand in our truth. We welcome the peace that it brings. God, as you guide us, renew and remind us that you are the reason we see. God, as you guide us, renew and remind us that you are the reason we see.
Let's say the prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
We are love, joy, and peace. Everything else we release. We are love, joy, and peace. This is our gift to the world. We are love, joy, and peace. Everything else we release. We are love, joy, and peace. This is our gift to the world. This is our gift to the world.